How's it, guys? And welcome back to the Diverge Podcast. Thank you for tuning in for the second episode of the week, or the second episode for the week, rather, as the Trek one was meant to include a bit of the Imbuko Big Five as well, but it just got way too big. An hour and 40 minutes of Trek interviews is a lot to get through. So thanks for tuning in for the second one of the Imbuko Big Five and the Groot Swem 2025. So this weekend, tomorrow, Saturday, the 15th of February, is the Imbuko Big Five, now the Big Five Mountain Bike Challenge by Imbuko and Canetsfontein. One of the premier single day marathon events in the country. Really has grown into a fantastic event. Obviously, the route is king. The Wellington trails, whenever you ride them, are just incredible. A real climbers course, stacked with single track as well, both uphill and downhill single tracks, and those big five climbs that really test the riders and help everybody get into race ready shape for the Absa Cape Epic. Of course, it was the Queen stage of the Cape Epic in 2024 as well. 2025 Epic not going to Wellington, but there are a little bit of similarities in the terrain under the wheels, at least, between Paarl and Wellington. That same sort of granite kind of single track where your tire pressure really has to be dialed in to exactly right in order to have any confidence through the corners. So I think beyond just the racing outing, I think the people that are doing it are in for a fantastic day out, but also a good day of learning and gaining some knowledge that'll serve them well come March. And that goes for the elites as well as the amateurs. As far as the elite field goes, I've got an update from Jason Bull, who will be doing the live updates alongside Jess Meneer at the Big Five this weekend or tomorrow. So here's Jason to take it away.
The Big Five 2025 it's looking like it's going to be quite a stout race. Good helping of international competition, which is becoming quite a common theme at the Big Five over the last few years, which is super exciting. But I think the real main contenders to watch are actually going to be the locals. In the women's race, obviously Candice is just a machine. And Vera Losa did take a Marathon World Cup win last year. So if she backs herself, she could have a good race and really give Candice a run for her money. But Candice is on top form at the moment. We were hoping Kate Courtney was going to show up, but it sounds like she's got some training, specific stuff she needs to work on before the World Cup season. Malene Den, who has raced 10 years of World Cup cross country, is also going to be in the women's field. She's a Scandinavian rider and could shake things up a little bit, so excited to see her, but she'll definitely bring a vibe if nothing else. And then we've got Bianca Hall and Danelle Stradum, who are both powerhouses in their own right. Bianca coming in with some pretty incredible form last year in a return to racing after a few years not being so involved in the racing scene. So she could be definitely one to watch. And then Sarah Hill, Sam Sanders, Hayley Preen also quite an exciting one. Don't know if Hayley's got as much of climbing legs as the likes of Candice and Vera, etc. But she's a super strong rider. And also good vibes. So stacked field in the women's category, which is exciting to see. And then the men's, Marku and Tristan are certainly the two to watch. My money is going to be on Tristan. If I have to pick between the two of them, his Araquas performance and just general climbing prowess are going to favor him a lot on a course like this. But Marku has got fight in him like no one else in the racing scene. And I don't think he's going to let Tristan out of his sight too easily. No appearances from the Scott boys confirmed yet. They will have the full Bulls team And then Wout Alleman and Hans Becking from Buff Megamo, which is really exciting. And then Martin Frey and Simon Steve Jean from Singer KTM Racing, who took the last stage of Tugma Trek. And I think second overall, if I'm not mistaken. So they're gonna definitely spice things up a bit. Those are the only Europeans that I have confirmed at the moment, and then other locals include Luke Moyer, Mark Pritson, Arnaud Dutoy, Herman Fourie, who could probably be in with a top 5 finish, I reckon. I know he was just outside, if not inside, the top 5 in one of the last couple of years. So yeah, and he's been training with a lot of the European riders. Is obviously with Barry Austin as well, who's just delivering phenomenal results at the moment through his athletes, most notably Candice. So, and I'm probably missed a couple more names from the men's field there as well that are going to be throwing their hat in the ring. But yeah, money for me is on Tristan Nortje. But yeah, excited to see how the Buff Mega guys go as well. Wout just took the win at Mediterranean Epic, so he's seems to be in good racing form. They went there at Tankwa to see how they're sizing up to the locals. So there's a bit of a few question marks hanging in the air as to how that's going to work out when they all come together on Saturday. But yeah, 77k course, 3,000 meters of climbing. It's mega. 5 big climbs, most notably the Imbuko climb in the middle of the race, which starts at about 30 k's or so. Climb for about 12 kilometers, gaining 1,000 meters elevation, culminating in that Cliffhanger trail that the Canetsfontein farm built, which is just probably the most spectacular trail you can ride in the country. The views from up there are magnificent. The actual craftsmanship of the trail is mind-blowing. And you descend for about 20 minutes off the top and back down into the valley. So yeah, and there's 20 grand up for grabs for the first man and for the first woman over the top. So 40 grand for King of the Mountain in the pool there, over the top of that climb, and then 25 grand for the winning male and 25 grand for the winning female overall. So there's quite a lot to play for, it's awesome to see the event putting in that that investment into the riders who are coming through to race this. And that's, I think, a lot of the purpose of the Big Five is to be a progressive marathon race that's pushing the level of competition. It's pushing the quality of the course to be at a world level standard. I mean, some of those World Marathon Cups that took place last year were similar 100Ks with 3,000, 4,000 meters of elevation gain. You can ask Vera Lossa all about those, and Alex Miller. It'd be awesome if he was racing this weekend, but I haven't seen him on the start line, on the start list. But yeah, that's it. It's going to be insane. There will be live coverage, racing updates from Jess Menier and myself on the Big Five MTB Challenge Instagram handle. That's the place to watch it. So it's going to be lit. I can say nothing less.
Shot, Jason. His enthusiasm is always so infectious, and that's definitely going to add to the race, and it's going to be cool to see Jess covering the race as well. So a very, very talented young lady, and to see her being able to tell a story like that is going to be very cool. So I'm excited to see how that goes from both from the racing perspective, but also from the coverage perspective. What Jason didn't know at the time when he sent me that voice note, though, was that Matt Beers was about to enter, and that shakes things up quite a bit in the men's race, having the big gun, the big dog of South African marathon racing, Matt Beers, on the start line. But still, that being said, those steep climbs are maybe not Matt's ideal forte. He is looking very skinny. He was very skinny at Tankwa Trek, so I'm sure he's going to be climbing well. But is he going to be climbing as well as Tristan Nortje? I think we will definitely see on Saturday. But for a local perspective and for a Cape Epic perspective from the locals side, if Tristan can get one up on Matt and if Marco can get one up on both of them, that'll really set the season up well. Obviously, the Singer Racing guys there as well. Megamo. Hans has been struggling with some health issues at the start of this season, hasn't really been able to get his training dialed in yet, but maybe some time in sunny South Africa is what Hansi needs, and they'll sort him right out, and he could be back to his best. But I'm sure he will be come March, or pretty close to it. So yeah, hopefully this is another step in the right direction for Hans. And then just a little reminder there again of the Instagram handle. It's at Big5 MTB Challenge on Instagram for those live updates from both the men's and the women's race. Very cool that Imbuko and Canetsfontein is investing in having some dedicated person in Jess to cover the women's race. That's really what you like to see, and especially with such a strong field, it really does them justice as well to have that exposure. So very cool. Big props to the Big Five there. On to the Groot Swem. So the Groot Swem is a Startwell Foundation charity, and it's basically a Robben Island crossing for charity. So swimming from Robben Island to Big Bay, 7.5 kilometers, and raising money for the Startwell Foundation, which aims to combat childhood stunting. Childhood stunting affects 27% of South Africans, and South African children causes physical, mental, and psychological stunted growth, or has issues with stunted growth, and it's something that that we see quite a lot with Songo as well. It's just how small the kids that come through the program are. Just because of that inadequate nutrition in early years, that they just can't grow enough as babies and as toddlers, and then that like sets them back permanently, and then obviously it has mental in particular effects as well, where it just unfortunately don't develop the IQ. Yeah, because of that brain, the actual physical brain doesn't develop as much. So it is a massive issue in South Africa, and it's very cool to see the Groot Swem raising funds for that. So I've signed myself up for that. I tried to do a Robben Island crossing just for fun in 2021, and that didn't go particularly well. I got halfway in, and then got seasick, and ended up that I was actually properly sick going into it. I just didn't realize it. So I'm very keen to give it another bash. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that people that haven't attempted it yet are sort of worried about the sharks, worried about open water, those things. When you do the Robben Island crossing, I cannot compliment Derek and Big Bay Events enough. They're right there next to you with the boat. It's never more than like 2 or 3 meters away from you. You feel so safe. Your biggest issue is actually just boredom, just swimming in sort of green water where you can't see much. You can hardly see your fingertips as you're digging in, and so it's just sort of the boredom of just swimming for. I think a fast crossing is an hour and a half or so. I'm probably looking at around 2 hours, 150 to 2 hours. So it's just that length of time swimming is yeah, without much of a view apart from every fifth breath when you every 10th breath when you breathe and you look towards Table Mountain side is quite nice. But then you've got the boat on that side of you sometimes, so then they have to move the boat to the other side. So the boat will be on your left hand side for a bit and then on your right hand side. And then of course when it's on your right you can't see Table Mountain. So that like really distracts from the enjoyment of the swim. But even though you're still just looking at Table Mountain for 2 hours. So yeah, it's not the most exciting of things to do as a big open water swim, but it's a cool challenge to take part in, and I'm really looking forward to giving that a bash. So if you'd like to find out more about the Groot Swem and the Startwell Foundation, you can visit grootswem.co.za, and there's a give and gain page as well to raise funds for the Startwell Foundation and their combating of childhood stunting. Those links will be in the show notes as always, as well as the build-up story to the Big 5 Mountain Bike Challenge by Imbuko and Canetsfontein. So If you're ever looking for any of the news covered in the podcast, it's in the show notes and it's on diverge.info. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next week. Cheers.